I'm Carla. I'm a PR manager at FIVO, and I'll be leading the next talk today. We are at GIMIC Radio to talk about an important topic in honor of March 8th for the International Women's Rights Day. We'll be talking for an hour about, we'll unmask the gender stereotypes perpetuated by the media, and we'll understand their impact on their artist career. We will explore ways to better defend the representation of FINTA artists. This is actually the goal of the discussion, but first I want to say what FINTA stands for, because I think a few don't know what does it stands for. So F stands for femme, I for intersex, N for non-binary, T for trans, and A for agender. To do so, I'm surrounded by two passionate, driven women professionals. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
I'm Cynthia. I've been working in the music industry for the past 10 years, and I'm based in Paris. And actually, I've had the luck to live in Brussels, so I'm still enjoying spending time here. Currently I co-direct Diva 404, which is the first French record label and artist management agency dedicated to FINTA artists. And I'm in charge of the label management, and what I have at heart is creating a solid and supportive environment for the FINTA artists, knowing that Diva 404 has been involved in numerous campaigns aiming to awareness on gender biased and sexual violence in the music industry.
Hi, I'm Jody. I'm a singer. I have my own project, Dorothy, Gale. I started this project now 3 years ago. Before, I have other musical project and doing a lot of theater. And now I'm particularly only music. And since I live in Brussels, actually, I have only music. And it's a good place to grow up as an artist, as a feminine artist, because there is a lot of this kind of talks and platforms, and yeah, we talk a lot each other. We saw us a lot, so yeah, that's a great place to live.
All right, thank you, and thank you for being here. Before diving into this conversation, first of all, I also wanted to make sure that if we happen to diverge and it start triggering you, because I think it's also can be a triggering subject, don't hesitate to stop me. Feel free and feel not forced to answer any question. This is actually a reminder today that it's important to create safe space for reflection and action to fight those inequalities in this industry, especially in the music industry. So to understand how media can shape and influence the storyline of an artist, first it's important to clearly define what gender stereotypes are. So genders have a lot of definitions. So a gender stereotype is a widely held, oversimplified belief about the traits, roles, or behaviors expected of an individuals based on their gender. So a few examples, for example, in the medias, beauty standards are a lot brought up. I mean, like you have to be pretty if you want to break through music, for example. What else? Maybe the fact that are missing women as headliners, or that women or FINTA are not keen to be musicians or producers, or working in techniques. That's linked to the talk we had before. But first I have questions for you both. Have you ever witnessed or experienced gender stereotypes in the music industry?
Actually, you know what? That's the question I had most difficulty answering, because how can I extract and isolate one gender-biased, violent experience, or even many when it's simply a systematic problem. So that's my answer.
All right.
Yeah, for me also it was a complicated question because I feel like I'm a female, but I'm also privileged. You know, I'm a white woman, hetero, and so yes, sometimes I'm so I have so conditioned in me. It's difficult to see what's happened at the moment, and then you think about it, and you have something you freeze or some. Yeah, it's difficult to 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 have the great point on it because it's happened a lot, but it feels so normal that you can say, I can't say that's the thing. And yeah, I have not so many experience from the interview or media because I'm a new project, quite small. But I look a lot of interviews, and yesterday or Friday, I think so, I saw once some extract from 7 à 8 from TF1 interviewing Laila Bekti, and she has 4 kids his last 6 years, and the question was how can you figure it out, manage your career and your children? And she has children with another actor, Tarim, and nobody asked Tarim how he managed to be a father. And yeah, I was asking, is that a problem from the journalist interview Laila Bekti, or the problem from the journalist don't ask Tarim how he do it? Because and that was an open question and something maybe we can talk about it. Who's wrong, who's right, from both.
But I think it's interesting because that points out actually how normalized it is, you know, and that's why I actually ask this question, because you never know when it is or when it's not, and I think that's mainly the problem. And I was wondering if you think those stereotypes can actually limit an artist's career. Like, you think it can have, for example, an impact on Laila Bekti's career, those gender stereotypes?
How much time do we have? Because the list is super large. But yeah, stereotypes, of course, impact an artist's career, but also their public image and also their creative image. But to start with today's main topic, the media representation, it's true that FINTA artists tend to be reduced to a single narrative rather than being recognized for their full artistic range. Stereotypes also bring hypersexualization, overshadowing as well their talent. And then you have other topics like stereotypes limit opportunities to funding, to collaborations. Women and non-binary artists also are questions on their abilities to on all that is related to creation. I mean, for example, female electronic music producers don't create their own music. It's not true. And yeah, I think that's and third, I was thinking as well when preparing this question that it has an impact as well on the career longevity, and that's very central because FINTA artists tend to they undergo a greater pressure to fit a marketable image. So that could lead to first to maintain approval from the audience or the industry or someone else, and that could lead to burnout or lead to a sort of disconnection from one's art. And spoiler alert, that could lead to shorter careers, naturally.
Judy, you at the beginning of your career, do you feel that is a break? Like, do you feel limited right now with those gender stereotypes?
Yeah, because I work on it to deconstruct myself and to not be where people want
You to be.
you to be and where I want to be. And it's so difficult when you start and when you're a woman with all your past to know you, to know what you want to say. And yeah, when I look at the first interview I had, I'm so kind, yes, I speak really well, and I didn't really answer. It's like, yeah, I do it because I have a great education. I don't know if we can call this, but yeah, I try to be kind and pretty and smile, and yeah, there is something like this in me, but not always. And I try to always listen the Christian and what I think and what I want, what I need to say, what is important to say or not. And you're not like, it's not an obligation to answer the question also. And when you're filming or with people, it's like really, I need to say something interesting. So maybe I try to say this, but sometimes you have not something interesting to say, and it's okay because it's you. And yeah, I don't feel sometimes you're like a figure, and everybody is same. Like in school, you need to learn the same thing like everybody, and they are not with you. It's like so robotic. Here we are together, we talk, and that's different thing. Like, yeah, there's some intonation, something. They're so mechanical, so nobody, who cares?
Who cares? Thank you. I wanted to know if there's an artist right now that inspires you, someone that reclaimed their gender identity, or right now someone that you think do not go that way.
Yeah, I saw one interview from the new pop artist Lola Young, and I saw her at Quotidien, and I feel she was right. She was like speaking loud and speak how she speak. I saw in her she was not there to be kind and pretty and okay, you need to do this for promotion and it's okay, it be part of the system, but she do it right and saying some, I feel like really real, and that is something I appreciated.
You gave a contemporary example, so I'll give a less contemporary example, but to me, a strong one is definitely Madonna, because she actually, of course, she shaped the pop music, but she also rewrote the rules. She confronted the music industry and the media to the biases they try to impose. And for example, what is related to, she built her own sexual power, saying, okay, I don't want to be objectivized. I want to use my image as an act of empowerment. And also I thought about her because she also played and broke to me the Madonna whore dichotomy, and that's what we try to do within Diva 44 with the diva capricious artist dichotomy. She's like, okay, I'm as at ease with being pure as being promiscuous. I refuse to be ashamed for either, and I'm strong. I embrace sensuality and strength, and that's very, very strong. I feel. And another thing about Madonna that I found very interesting is that she addresses as well ageism. And actually, as she aged, the media pushed the narrative that the female pop stars have to at a certain point to fade away. And actually, that's as for Madonna, well, the proof is that the thing is that she just reinvented herself in the last years, like creating her own platforms with talking directly with her fans through TikTok. She did collaborations with today's artists, like Colombian artist Maluma. So, yeah, I think that's a great example to me.
Thank you.
Also, I have another person I just think about. It's Beatrice Dalle, from a not musician,
The movie industry.
but that's exactly the point. She doesn't answer if she don't want to answer, and she's really speaking when we speak with her and we interview, and that's also a figure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you think stereotypes are more prevalent in certain music genres?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. In which?
Pop is considered to be genre for FINTA artists, R&B for black women, and to me the most relevant example concerning R&B is FK Twigs, because she's considered as an alternative R&B artist, whereas she has a broad experimental work that the media to me don't value enough. And as well, I'm thinking about the electronic music. It's a male-dominated genre as well, and I think that the FINTA electronic music artists suffer as well from the assumptions I was mentioning earlier about their abilities. And I'm thinking of Charlotte de Witte. And actually, what I was digging in her career, what I found super interesting about her career lately is that she built a project with Amélie Lantz. And I think that's a way as well to fight stereotypes, or at least to fight this male-dominated genre, because it's true that in electronic music you have a lot of competition, and who creates its own music, or who performs who does the longer set. And actually saying, okay, I'm doing a duet is a way to me to say, okay, I want to evolve as an artist, as a composer, in a sorority environment. And I found this project super strong in that sense.
Yeah, I feel that there is more project like this from the moment. It's really actual to have this question at the beginning of a project, like why I'm doing this. And it's weird because in the medias, if you are a bit not in the right place, right case, you're alternative. You're pop alternative, R&B alternative. Like it can't also be a real pop, and that's that I mentioned sometimes this kind of words using to saying it's not at the right place. But if we can do something not at the right place, a normal place, it will be beautiful.
Thank you. I think those artists that you are mentioning needs help probably to navigate through this music industry. And I wanted to ask you, Cíntia, how is it with Diva 404? How do you help and support FINTA artists in controlling their media image?
Actually, as a label, I feel that you have to be like a control tower, but as well you have to have some margin for flexibility to go back. I have a concrete example on my mind. We produced, actually for one of the artists that we produced within Diva 404, we had press photos on which the artist wore a corset, revealing the top of her chest. And that was a deliberate choice according to the art direction. But actually, later on during the project, we secured like a playlist cover feature on a DSP that I won't mention, but we were super happy about it and everything. But when it was time to validate the playlist cover, we realized that it was framed in a way that you could only that you had the feeling that the artist was completely naked. It could be again a deliberate choice, and it could be accepted, but still, even though it was the original art direction, we had this flexibility to say to the DSP, if you don't reframe it as we want it to be, there won't be any cover feature. So that's very important, like to have this margin and to be controlling and everything and asking for validation for each asset.
And to go back to the narrative and the story that is told through medias, do you think, for example, a well-designed press kit can actually help an artist to impose their own media narrative? And do you think is it essential to like really have this well-designed press kit in order to not like break through?
Yeah, sure. I think that a press kit is a powerful tool for artists to take control over their narrative, and to shape as well how the media and the industry and the audience would perceive them. And actually, what we used to do within Diva 404 is to we always start before launching a project or even working straight away on the project. We do like an interview with like a series of questions with the artist, confidential one, of course, that is conducted by Lola, my business partner. And besides, she's journalist, so she can anticipate the journalist's tricks. That's very interesting, and that's a great added value. And we explore, and we always explore the professional and the personal aspects, because it always go together to us, because the artist has to feel super at ease on what's written on the press kit. And yeah, I feel that so in the press kit, to me, you have to have a strong bio, the key achievements, and the artist's vision, so that the journalist only focus on what matters. And we know that most of the time the journalists rely a lot on press kits. So if you master the wording, then maybe the artist can avoid being put in limiting categories. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I think it has to be, like, to me, it has to be a basic.
Thank you. Do you think surround yourself by PR is also essential? For example, like public relations, so attaché de presse. That's mainly the job of someone that does the bridge between the artist and the journalist. Do you think it's useful for an artist at the beginning of their career to surround by a PR?
It depends where you want to go, which kind of type of world you want to be part. I think you don't need to go too quickly, I think, to be sure that you know where you want to go. for me, this kind of press kit, everything, I do it myself because I don't have a PR. And it's like a huge thing in my mind. Is this picture good? If it says something, I delete, I change my bio. It's like once a month I do this. Like, okay, so maybe it's cool to have another point of view.
Be a manager.
Maybe a manager helps to know, to have a vision for, because it's so difficult for an artist to accept the talking about you, right by you. It's like, oh wow. Is that too much? Am I a bit me, myself, and I? And yeah, it's complicated to figure it out. So maybe it will be a point, but you need to go step by step. I think first alone, maybe manager, then you can go to see if you want to be part of this kind of industry. Yes, it helps, of course.
Thank you. You want to add something,
Yeah,
Cynthia?
I just wanted to add that I totally understand this this challenge of asking oneself the questions and answering them at the same time. It's super difficult, and I think there's always a need for having someone that helps on the press kit before the PR, because the PR is not necessarily his or her job. Maybe you can have add a word on it, but maybe if you have a little budget, like I don't know, like 400 euros, maybe you can have a solid press kit, and when you do the press kit in that way, I think everything goes super naturally before you have a clear vision, and you don't put aside also the personal aspect which is super important. I mean, we're besides this, I just wanted to say also that we are building, we are rolling out a European project, an educational program dedicated to FINTA artists between Lisbon, Paris, and soon in Brussels. And actually, everything is taught from the personal point of view, because the artists have to know themselves, and the press kit is a super tool for this.
I want to switch to medias, and I wanted to ask you: do you think people still read traditional media, music media? Do you think it's still dominant in the shape of the story of the artists? Or we're actually switching to something that is more independent in the rise of podcasts and the specialized platforms?
For me and people I know, I prefer to read something really local with a journalist a bit on the side, or small things, because it's more real than big things. It's like, I don't know actually from who is this kind of papers and who reads this, and maybe there is too much medias now. Personally, I'm always looking from where it's coming, because you have so much bullshit and something more interest. But for me, I'm really interested what's happening locally, like Brussels, Paris, London, but something more not so far away.
But like, since we're like in a digital era, you know, where TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube is like taking over all those traditional media, like, do you feel like you trust them more, or you still like feel like traditional media is still a good credibility for the artist or not?
To me, it can be like a starting point, but still you have to have something complementary, because mainstream media brings dominant narrative, and it's true, like object like podcasts or blogs or other platforms have a great power in countering this dominant narrative, because they provide nuances to discussions, they provide extended discussions, different points of view, and actually, I think that that there's an example that came to my mind about Björk. It's a headache for a journalist, because she in terms of image, in terms of music, and to an extent that she was qualified as eccentric. That's a problem. And actually, she released a podcast in 2022 that is called Björk Sonic Symbolism, where she talks about the creation of each of her albums, where she explores the timbres, all the emotional sound landscapes that she that allowed her to develop each project. And I found it super interesting, because she was like, okay, that's my truth, actually. And it's true that independent media, well, when you think about media like press, there's always fact-checking at heart, more than other mainstream media. But when you're not a journalist like Björk and you're on the point of view from the artist, it gives truth. And I found it very interesting. And actually, my business partner Lola, she's a creative and an art director, and she uses as well the image as, in the end, as a press kit, you know, as okay, that's the way I want to. That's what I want to say. And actually, when you think of Beyonce, she doesn't give any interview, and everything goes through her music and her styling. So that's a good example as well.
It's difficult to find a great question, to find the question interesting, I found. So, yeah, because you have a lot of personal question, but what's interesting, the kind of you make the music, how do you make the music?
Do you mean questions with the journalists?
Yeah, that's difficult to find a good question that interesting you, because you have some things, do you say pain au chocolat or chocolatine, and you're like, whatever, it doesn't care, but
they're like emphasizing details about stuff that is somewhere sometimes even not linked to your music.
Yeah, and that's a bit weird, I think, when you're interviewer, or just to watch at it, like why I'm looking like this. But yeah, maybe the point is to find the great question and to be in real connection. This person preferred to talk and how she made music, and when we talk about how do you make music, what's your influence, it's always the same question. And sometimes it's not music your influence. Sometimes for me, like, it's a story, it's image, it's not directly music. And you feel like you're not fitting, and you try to answer. And yeah, if you have interview, like, he really answer the process and how to make it, and what inspires you, and what's the subject you want to talk, and what's important to you to say, to defend, to be part. That's more deeply, and maybe then this kind of article is more interesting.
I just wanted to add something that to an idea that you brought up that is super interesting. That's the main challenge, for example, for Quebec-based artists when they develop their project in France, because the journalists most of the time focus on what they consider to be an accent, and they don't, and it draws the attention away from the music, and that's a problem. And it's interesting because when you hear Charlotte Cardin being interviewed in France, she totally masks this what is considered so-called accent, and when she's in Canada, it's the total opposite. And yeah, I mean, it's always the same. We're coming to the conclusion that the FINTA artists and FINTA people have to build strategies to counter this this gender biased violence.
Thank you. Judy, I wanted to ask you if, like, when you're going to surround yourself with a team, for example, later on during your career, do you think instinctively you're going to go to towards more inclusive structures, or like, do you think you're going to go automatically towards that to work with FINTAs? Like, what is your point of view?
Yes, actually, I decided to work with a lot of women. My booking agency is Super Karma, and I choose her for this kind of values, and because they are part of all this. What we talked at the beginning of the show, where we saw us together. We have talked. They are part of great movements, and so that was really important to me to be safe with her. Also with the label Leuk Music, it was Juliette, which is like, we know each other. I feel safe. I can say everything. If I'm not feel comfortable with something, I can ask her, is that normal? Because for a lot of last summer, I play at a festival with problematic people in the lineup, and I can ask, like, really safely, is that okay to play the same day of this person? And then we talk about it. It was not like no, I don't want, or why I feel safe to ask this kind of question. And also in my team, I work with a lot of producer guys, but I choose really good guys, and that's also something I need to be sure that I'm safe with him, and they're not mansplaining and it's difficult to me to have a trust with men in this kind of things, because you express yourself and you already broke from a kind of lot of experience before, so you need to have a real trust. But I have this chance to have it, and my song engineer is a woman, Alexandria, a beautiful woman, and so I feel like the balance is really more FINTA than the rest.
Cynthia, for your artists, do you also pay attention to with who you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely, always. But actually, the thing is that to avoid risk, we simply work in a reduced team, actually. So that limits a lot of things, because you limit yourself to maybe less collaborations, but we don't know how to jugulate risks, and because we have, I mean, it's never, when you do a list of potential risks, you never come to the end. So, and you cannot anticipate all the risks. I have an example on my mind that happened to Lola. She was on a set for a music clip, and the production company had not enough. How do you say figurant? Figuration, yeah. People for a figuration. So the production company just called friends at 7 o'clock that had just that had spent the night in the club, that had consumed alcohol, been drinking and on drugs and everything, and they just arrived on the set at 8 o'clock like this. I mean, it never comes to your mind that this kind of situation can arise. So, yeah, actually, we tend to work more internally.
And do you feel like there's a break, that you feel limited sometimes, that there is not, I mean, enough space or enough, there's no access to that?
Yeah, of course you have limited access to opportunities, but at the same time we believe that at the same time this limitation also brings a risk reduction. So it communicates for us, even though it's not super visible, this question, this matter of risk reduction, but still we know that that it exists.
Thank you. You wanna add something?
No,
We're actually slowly getting to the end of this conversation, even though it was really, really interesting. And before, I mean, when I contacted you, I asked you to bring something, a book or a song or an essay that is linked to your engagement, first for March 8th, but also that inspiring you to like keep acting and keep fighting in this music industry to like be there as FINTAs, so, and as a woman. I don't want to. Do you want to share maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking which kind of, because first you asked for a book, so this kind of book, because I'm reading something, but I'm just at the beginning. And for me this year, like I was saying, it's like the stories and the message in the stories. And I write an EP about Dorothy Gale, and it's why I take this name. And it's about this kind of book that I have here. So it's the Wizard, the Voice, but it's also a movie. But if this book gave me a lot of it was like a kind of guideline, like what I want to say, but I don't want to say it so truly. I want to mask some message under a story, and this story is about a lot of actual things. Like you have a beautiful witch, and that's was important to me to speak about. Witch is not also bad and ugly. You can be a kind and a good witch. And also all the movie is about the imaginary, so it have sense for me. And you need to follow the yellow road, brick road, and that's the kind of thing that we need to have on own. And if you go a better way, you oh, sorry, my English is
It's really
it's
good.
like you have this yellow brick road, and she needs to follow this to have her dream. But sometimes she's not on the right road, and it's okay, because what's the right road? And I was asking, like, if you followed, there was something, a subject that guided me. If I follow the yellow brick road, at the end she arrived at the emerald. Fake emerald magician. And is that important to follow this yellow brick road or not? And what's your own road? And yeah, that give me some this kind of guideline all this year.
And do you feel like it's sometimes close to reality?
Yeah.
In what way?
I love to think that the life can be a story, and you can have an image on it. And so yeah, maybe for me it's like if you don't take the message under, and if you don't go deeply in the things, maybe you can not see in the right sense of the things. So for me that's the most important, to create like this, to read like this, and to see this thinking that way, go deeper, that the superficial, beautiful story forgets.
Thank you. What about you, Cíntia?
I found this speech super emotional, so so yeah, I'm like in a dream now, so I won't be able to.
We're like in a magic booth here.
So I'll leave it on Judy's words.
All right. I think actually we have to keep talking about those topics outside of the booth also and I'll be happy to share more with you outside, but I really wanted to thank you today, both of you, for coming. I think it's super, super important, and for your presence, your commitment, your voice, your work, I mean, that you do not only today, right now, but I think you do it every day, and I think it's super important, and it's super inspiring and essential. Well, I think I could make a whole list to all the stuff that is.
You're getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm getting
as well.
super emotional, like all the stuff, all the positive energy that is getting through that, and I think we should do that more often, actually. I think we're fine.
Whenever you want.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Carla.